Hole in the Soul, and we're live. Kevin Oldham here with my co-host Jose Bolaños, and we've been talking a lot about addiction and recovery, and I think some of this stuff caused Jose to go on a little journey and revisit NA, Narcotics Anonymous, in Nicaragua, and it got me to thinking about Kansas City. I was like, oh, do we have NA chapters here? I know we do, but I've never been. I went to AA when I was in recovery, still in recovery. But it went down this rabbit hole, and I found this document that is actually from NA's, it's an official publication that they wrote back in 1983 called Am I an Addict? And we're going to start off today's episode with a little bit of a reading from the end of this. This is a brochure that you'll get at NA meetings. And it says, we were searching for an answer when we reached out and found Narcotics Anonymous. We came to our first NA meeting in defeat and didn't know what to expect. After sitting in a meeting, or several meetings, we began to feel that people cared and were willing to help. Although our minds told us that we would never make it, the people in the fellowship gave us hope by insisting that we could recover. Surrounded by fellow addicts, we realized that we were not alone anymore. Recovery is what happens in our meetings. Our lives are at stake. We found that by putting recovery first, the program works, and we faced 3 disturbing realizations. Number 1, we're powerless over addiction and our lives are unmanageable. Number 2, although we're not responsible for our disease, we are responsible for our recovery. And number 3, we can no longer blame people, places, and things for our addiction. We must face our problems and our feelings. The ultimate weapon for recovery is the recovering addict.
That's beautiful.
The ultimate weapon for recovery is the recovering addict. That's pretty profound, man, isn't it?
It's powerful.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your journey. You sent me a message earlier. Was that this week or last week? I don't know.
It was Sunday.
They went together. It was Sunday?
It was Sunday.
You said you went to an NA meeting. I
went to an NA meeting.
Why don't you tell us about that experience?
So, I don't know why, I've been feeling disconnected. It came from when we were talking about training for life and practices and what we've been doing and what we haven't been doing and how we've been practicing.
Yeah.
And I told you that I kind of feel like I've been disconnected, just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about how do I reconnect? And I mean, the answer was obvious. You reconnect by going back to the source of everything. Mm-hmm. To me, recovery is the source of everything that my life is today. I mean, if I go back to the beginning, when people told me, where did you start? Like, how did you become a coach? I'm like, well, let me tell you first. I started off in recovery. And so I went back on Sunday and I shared that I was feeling disconnected and wanted to come back. And what was interesting, I told them, is recommitting is so hard. Like, it's been so easy not to come. I mean, I made it such a habit to not come that I'm kind of scared of how hard it actually is going to be to recommit to coming. So, started there.
I can understand that.
Yeah, it's like it's been so easy not to.
It's almost like there's almost.
I haven't relapsed, and life isn't that bad. So, but why come?
Yeah.
So, but
did you feel like a newbie, kind of like you're a new person when you went in, even though you've been in recovery for a long time? Like, did you have any memories of like the first time? Because I think I would. I think if I went to a meeting, which now you've kind of challenged me, I'm going to go to one, I think I'll feel kind of like it'll bring up memories of back at the beginning for me, I think.
Yeah. So, I felt like, I always feel uncomfortable, like being judged, because I don't go and having people judge me and stuff like that. But it was a whole bunch of new faces. It was interesting because usually I go and I see old faces, people that I was in recovery with. It's been such a long time that it's all new. It was like I knew nobody there, and nobody there knew me. Like one person asked me, like, "How long did you just come? Is this your first time, or have you been here before?" I'm like, "I've been here before." And she's like, "Well, yeah, how long ago?" And I'm like, "About 22 years ago." And she's like,
Was it the same meeting? Same meeting?
No, it was the day after, the next day, the second day. But
no, I mean, like, is this the same meeting chapter? So, like in Kansas City, we've got, I don't know, I looked up like 10 chapters. Did you go to the same location, the same meeting you went to 20 years ago?
No,
same. Yeah,
same location that I went quite many years ago.
Yeah.
Not the 20 years ago one, but yeah, one that I was visiting prior to COVID, prior to a whole bunch of stuff happening. So, I didn't, COVID wiped some people out, not physically, like probably did wipe out some people, physically, the older, weaker people. I don't know, but, that moved the world, it changed everything. So it was a brand new faces, and it was interesting. The next day, the second day, there was a kid initiating himself, first time. And I got to talk to him, but it was interesting because he was my age when I first stepped in. He was like sitting there. I was like, I was that old when I came in here, and now I'm the old one now. Like I'm sitting here, and I'm the guy with 22 years, and I'm 43 years old. I'm not that kid anymore. That's not me anymore. It's like I'm someone else. I'm on another level. And in recovery, I got a sense that, I got a sense of belonging. What I wrote on Facebook, I was like, I felt I belonged. Like I belong here. Like I should be here. Not just for my own wellness and my own stability, which is true.
Oh.
But for other people, for this kid also, and for other people that are here, I mean, I should be giving back. I should be serving. I should be being a sponsor and wiser old fellow. Like I got stuff to give. Like my hourly rate is pretty high, bro. Like I should be. Like it would be a beautiful place to just terribly give back.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I felt good about that. And I felt comfortable in the chair. I felt comfortable to be there.
Yeah.
I just sat there with my eyes closed, breathing, in silent, listening to people speak. And I just felt like, damn, this feels good. Feels good.
I'm good, man.
They're talking about their hole in the
you
soul.
Went back after your first visit?
I've gone 3 times.
Absolutely. Everybody.
Yeah.
You have? Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's people were talking about the holes in their soul. I remember I had a neighbor who, man, how did we do this? I don't even know if it was official. I don't remember what happened. Actually, I think it was at his church. His church was seeking to organize a group for people who are curious about recovery. That's what it was. And so we had, like, I co-led this group with him. I don't know. It's probably like 5 years ago, something like that. And for me, it was actually really, really cool to be able to go into a meeting like that and realize that that I was a different person than when the last time I had stepped into a meeting like that. I was like, oh, like much like what you just said. I'm like the kid, because I was in my 20s, the kid who came to this organization broken and in shambles, days after just making the decision to change life, and then coming in, a couple decades later, almost as an adult who's done a lot of work. It was a weird scenario, and much like you, I kind of felt like I had something to offer.
Yeah.
And I did. Got to co-lead that and lead people, and there's still one gentleman today. He's another dad at my son's school, and we'll see each other, and just kind of pounds each other, and we both know, and that's our little secret thing, and it was really cool, So yeah.
When I came into the groups, I had nothing. I had, not that I had nothing, but I didn't have I wasn't married.
Yeah.
I didn't have kids. Mm-hmm. I didn't even have a college, like a college title, a diploma. So I tell them I came into the group with nothing, and I built everything on the foundation of recovery. I created my family. I decided to get married. decided to have kids, and the foundation to all that was recovery. Recovery is the priority. I think you read it there. We make our recovery, it will work if we make our recovery our priority. And it's so hard 20 years later to make the recovery the priority. It's like 10 steps down in the priority list. And I'm curious, what would happen? What would my life be today if I recommitted and made it again? Like, no, my priority is not the business. My priority is not the family. My priority is not this. My priority is my recovery. Is filling that hole in my soul. This is the priority. What would that look like today? And what I love about going back to the program is that it starts having an impact immediately. Right.
Probably as soon as you walk in, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a place for people who are trying to overcome things.
Yeah.
And you feel like at home.
Yeah. And you feel like I got to seriously reprioritize things. I've seriously been not organized in the way that I should. And it puts you back into, you gain perspective again. You're like, oh yeah, I was completely not prioritizing what needs to be prioritized and getting caught up in things that aren't really important. And it just helps you come back to that.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that there are certain behaviors that I act out on, like what I eat, my phone, etc. That just those 3 days going to the program, like I fight with my phone. And what I found is that I haven't been fighting with my phone. It's just something that I'm not going to. So I believe, going back to sobriety as a state, I don't believe sobriety should be a fight. I don't believe sobriety is like every day I'm fighting the monster to not consume or to not act out or to not misbehave. It's that sobriety is I'm not fighting and I'm not acting out and I'm not misbehaving because I feel good. I feel complete. I feel whole. I feel complete. And going back to the program and reconnecting with that reconnects you with that sense of being whole and complete and less needing to act out in whether it's food or like I found out even climbing volcanoes is an addiction.
Yeah,
it is. I'm an addict. I'm an addict.
Of course it is.
Of course it is. It's like,
hey man, let's go climb and surf, man.
Scratch that itch.
I get it. I mean,
get that. So,
if this isn't the sign of an addict, so if you're driving or you're not watching on YouTube, you're going to see him holding a picture of a skateboard. And, this is an addictive behavior because guess what? I've got another one in the trunk of my car. Guess what? I've got another one in my garage. Like they're planted everywhere so that much like an addict would structure his life around consumption of drugs or whatever, I've structured my life around the ability to skateboard whenever inspiration hits. Hey, Jose, this is pretty cool. I haven't ridden a skateboard since September. Look at that.
That one in particular.
No, none of them.
Well, you haven't skateboarded since September.
No, because of my knee surgery. But you know what?
Yes.
In physical therapy, they've got me specifically doing exercises that will help me skateboard again, believe it or not. Like they've tailored a lot of my physical therapy to my activities, like martial arts and skateboarding. And I actually feel like I could do it right now without pain, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
I love that approach. In the past, doctors would tell you're never going to skateboard again.
Yeah.
Today it's more like we'll get you skateboarding again.
Oh, we're gonna be skating when we're super old here at the Kevin Oldham School of Skating, even if it's just down the driveway. Old school. So, I think one of the things that I think is cool about NA, AA, these organizations, and I want to tap into them because they are great resources. I mean, they first of all they're free. Second of all, they're everywhere. Third of all, they're always happening. Like literally go to your local AA or NA chapter and you'll see a schedule by day, every day of the week, multiple meetings a day. I think that's what's really cool about it. I played a little game and I said, well, if I wanted to go to an NA meeting today, today, Kevin Oldham, I made that decision. What would that look like in Kansas City? And I found meetings at noon and then at 6 o'clock. So basically all the time, multiple times a day, multiple locations happening every single day. And what's cool about these organizations is that you can just walk in, no RSVP, no judgment. Most of them are open meetings, meaning you can go there whether you're an addict or you think you're an addict, or maybe you're somebody who's with an addict, a supporting person or whatever. And I just think that is so cool that resource and that infrastructure is there, not just locally, not just nationally, but globally. Like, I believe it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like everywhere. Maybe not North Korea. Who knows?
But do they drink? Who knows?
Probably not. So if there's drinking and there's drugs, chances are there's a anonymous near you to help you with those things, which is cool.
And there's one for every addiction that we've been able to make up for ourselves. There's for sex addiction. There's for gambling.
Gambling's a big one.
Yeah, I mean the phone. There's probably something for the phone.
There's probably like for technology and stuff. There's got to be. I mean, there's got to be. Things like that. Yeah, Gamblers Anonymous, U.S. meetings.
The beauty.
What else is there? Is there?
I lost you for a moment. Sorry. The beauty is.
That's okay. The beauty. What?
You get to talk about. You get to talk about anything. You get to talk. There's a story about an old man or a man who would always come into AA or NA and only talk about his cow that he milks. My cow gave me 2 liters of milk today. It was a good milking, my cow, and I took care of my cow and I fed her and so on and so forth. He would always talk about his cow and his relationship with his cow, and he would always come into NA or AA and talk about his cow. And there was this other guy that we couldn't stand the man talking about his cow. Like, this guy is wasting our time just talking about his cow. And the one who relapsed was a guy who was frustrated about the other guy talking about his cow. And the guy who was always talking about his cow was in the program for the rest of his life. So it doesn't matter what you talk about. You go in.
Yeah.
You can talk about life. You can talk about your VUCA. You can, people just listen to it. The practice is to listen to people. Yeah, it's not about what you're going to talk about. I mean, you talk about everything, but it's listening and being and sitting and talking and getting to talk about your shit. You get to talk about your shit. It's a great, beautiful place.
Who doesn't want to talk about their shit, I just think it's cool the fact that it's so, like, for me, if I were outside looking in, like this whole self-organized global movement all the time, it's just multiple times a day. Like, I just think from a movement perspective, it's really, really cool. Like, what they've done is really cool.
It would be
if
worth
you need help,
studying.
There's lots of places to go.
It would be worth studying. It would be worth studying how they self-organize, the traditions, and how nobody owns it. Nobody has a hierarchy, and everybody's at the same level, and how it functions, and how it's been able to expand and become a movement. And I mean, it is probably worth looking into how AA and NA have become such a global force. But again, I went back for myself, feeling good about having gone back. I think it is my priority, even 22 years later, to say that recovery is the priority in my life. I mean, again, I wouldn't have everything I have. I wouldn't be who I am. It was all born from there. And to be disconnected from that, for me, it's probably a disservice to myself, a disservice to the world, and probably setting me up in the wrong position. I'm focusing on the wrong things. So I'm really glad to be reconnecting to that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
you've posted.
Like I said, and right, as I reflect back on my journey, I mean, alcohol was like what led to everything else. But frankly, I should have been in NA meetings, not AA meetings, in my opinion. Like I mean, drinking was a lot of fun, but what I really liked was what it led to, which was other things.
Yeah.
So this would actually be the first time I've stepped into an NA meeting, and it's kind of weird. I mean, I figured they would have more, like kind of like AA, right? Particularly with like the opioid crisis in the United States, like they're everywhere, and NA there's not as many, at least here in Kansas City, locations. In Nicaragua, do they have AA and NA meeting separately?
They meet separately, but NA is very limited. I actually only know of one. If you ask me right now, how many meeting places I know of NA, I only know of one.
Yeah. Okay.
Versus
per city of a million,
which I know of multiple ones. And it's a beautiful dynamic. Common. It's beautiful to see the dynamic of the conflicts in these meetings and the self-organization and dealing with they talk about in the traditions how we resolve our conflicts, and that's part of the practice, and we deal with the issues here, and we got to make payments, we got to pay the bills, we got to they have a collection basket that comes around and people have to pay, and that's what's funding the thing. If nobody pays, it doesn't get funded.
I remember that. Yeah.
People and the volunteers. There's one guy who was 12 years. He was 12 years sober yesterday. They were celebrating the day before yesterday. They were celebrating his anniversary, and this guy's made. He's the embodiment of service. I've never been the embodiment of service in the groups. I've never served the coffee.
You just take her. You just come and take and leave.
I'm a shitty taker.
I'm just gonna.
I'm just gonna come here.
Hey, give me that cash basket. Give me that cash basket. I'm a little short for lunch today.
Like, literally, I think my commitment should be to be more of a giver this time around. It's to maybe
why don't you try that? See how it lands.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you because I've been feeling the same thing. Because I did a short stint as a hospice volunteer, and then when our son started middle school, my schedule changed, and I was like, dude, I don't have that time anymore. It doesn't exist. But I felt as I was going through that process, even when I was going through the process of like learning about it and getting not accredited, but I had to like go through some classes and stuff, I felt so freaking good and alive after serving. And I think that if you could go serve anywhere, but particularly somewhere, and give back to something that's been so core to you and your life, basically, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard Jose say many, many, many times, his entire life is basically kind of credited to this whole sobriety journey. What a more noble place to serve than there for you, right? So I would offer the opportunity, and it sounds like you're kind of already thinking about that, to go in there and do whatever it is that you can do.
Not just
my dad recently, not just go, right?
Serve the coffee.
So my dad recently
mop the place up.
So my dad recently got back into service. He belonged to, when I was growing up, the Kiwanis organization, which is, kind of like Rotary. It's a civic organization. And then retirement happened and all those things. And then pandemic, mom, his wife of 55 years passes away. And he recently stepped back into Kiwanis within the past year and doing service and giving, things to kids at schools and all these things. And I can see how serving others is bringing him alive. It's like giving him a sense of purpose, joy, all those things. So if you're trying to fix that hole in the soul or fill it, which we all have, serving others in altruistic ways definitely can make you feel like you're making a difference.
Yeah, it's a great place to start. When you don't know what to do, go serve others. Go find a place to serve.
Anything.
A soup kitchen, volunteer place, like pick stuff up. mop the place up.
Yeah.
It's a great place to start when you don't know what else to do. Yeah.
You know, you can even do small things. You can do small things that nobody even notices. And I took this from Jimmy Darts. So I got to meet him this past year, and I didn't know anything about the guy. If you don't know anything about him, he's a guy who just goes and he's kind of like a YouTuber, social media person, whatever. But his whole thing is he blesses people with cash gifts who are not expecting them in public, and he secretly films it. And one of the things that he talked about was service, and not in big ways like what he's doing on social, but more small things that I have found myself doing, like little things like picking up trash when you come across it on the street, or just the little things. Or if there's trash on the floor in the bathroom, picking that up because somebody else has to do that, right? And nobody knows you did it besides yourself, but it can make you feel better about your contributions to the world. So service can be a small thing, a small act or a big act.
I want to tell you a story. Yesterday, it's not about service, but I don't know why it's coming up for me right now. But yesterday, so every morning I go drop my kids off at school, and every morning I drive back. And traffic is mayhem here in Managua, in Nicaragua. You see the bus drivers are the worst, like the public bus drivers.
Really?
It's hilarious, man. They fight, they compete, they go on the side of the road, like they'll go off on the side and start. It's like, and people get hurt. Like, it's a serious issue. So, and here in Nicaragua, if you have a bumper to bumper, like if somebody crashes, if you crash, you stop in the middle of the road and nobody moves their car until the cops come.
You don't clear it and go. Oh my gosh.
The cops have to come, and the cars can't move because the cops have to come and measure and see who's at fault. So the cops have to investigate until they decide who's at fault. And then once they decide, you get to go, and then you got to go do the whole thing with the insurance company, everything. And if you move your car and you don't get the cops' written report, you don't get your insurance paid. Like, your insurance won't take care of it. So yesterday, a bus driver was on the side. Like, I come and I'm on the road, and he comes on the side. I don't know what's the side road called. What's the marginal? What's it called?
It's your shoulder.
He's on the shoulder. He's coming on the shoulder, competing with another bus, and he wants to get back into the lane because he's running out of shoulder, and I'm the guy that he's competing with, and I'm holding my ground, and his tire hits my bumper.
No, of your new truck?
Of my new truck. Hits my bumper. So I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. I have a free morning. I'm not in a hurry. I'm like, I'm going to screw this guy. I get down. Luckily, there's no damage. There's like his paint is a little bit on mine, like the rubber of the tires on my, but you can just rub it off. But I don't care.
Right.
I'm making this guy wait. So he wants to drive off. He's trying to get around me. I'm out of my car at this. The traffic is bumper to bumper, 3-lane highway. And I'm coming out of my car. And don't worry, I'll get to the moral of the story. I get out of my car.
I don't even need a moral. I don't need a moral. This is hilarious.
No, there's a moral. He wants to drive away. He hasn't even gotten out. Right. And I'm like, no, you like, I want, like, I'm going like this, like, I want you to come down and look at what you did. And he's trying to drive away. I'm standing in front of the bus. I'm standing in front of a bus in the middle of the highway.
Are there people in the bus?
There's people. There's a bus is full with people standing yes. Full at 7:30 in the morning, which is rush hour, to get to work. People are driving by yelling at, like, don't let him go. Like, literally everybody's against the bus. Like, don't let him go. So finally, the guy's trying to drive off. I'm standing in front of him like that guy in the tank in the Chinese protester that would stand in front of the tank. I'm not letting him go. Yeah.
Like Tiananmen Square, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's me in front of a bus.
That's you. You're like, I'm going to die on this hill, the hill of paint on my tire. I'm done. And you're going to make all those people late to work.
I'm going to make everybody late
what's
to work.
the moral
This is just
here?
based on
What's the moral?
The principle. Here's the moral of the story. I'm almost there. So the guy finally gets frustrated. I'm like, you at least got to get down. Like, this guy at least has to get down out of that bus. So he finally gets down. He looks and he says, nothing happened. He's still angry. And I'm like, I don't care. We're staying here until the cops come. And finally, he's like, bro, I'm sorry. I'm under time pressure. I shouldn't have done this. I'm sorry. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm going to let you go now. We're good. All I wanted was an apology. That's all I needed.
Or an acknowledgement.
An acknowledgement.
Somebody to talk to you and tell you you're sorry.
Yeah.
An acknowledgement.
That's all I needed.
Dude, that's hilarious, actually. That's all you need.
We're good, man. We can go
Your
now.
little Jose heart just needed an apology.
I just needed an apology.
Jose's heart.
And it came from a good...
He softened your heart.
Yeah. It came from a place
of...
So what?
Are you guys best buddies now? You guys chatting on WhatsApp and trading notes now? Or where are you at with this guy?
I was waiting for it today. No, I was waiting to coincide today at the same place at the same time.
Yeah. Did you guys meet?
It was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny. No, we didn't.
Dude, that's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, here in the United States, you'll get your butt kicked if you stopped traffic for a fender bender.
It's crazy here.
Oh man,
it does not make sense, especially when you go and it's just a little bent on the bumper, and it's like 4-hour traffic.
Seriously, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I always tell people navigating
VUCA,
Managua,
right?
navigating Nicaragua, navigating Managua, especially if you're a foreigner, it's zen. It's a different mindset. You got to develop a different mindset so it won't kill you. Yeah.
That's
there you go.
I miss you posting pictures of like random stuff and saying Nika Zen. Because you would always put like these contrarian pictures up. Yeah, please do. I enjoyed it. You know, one of the things that I want to talk about as well, when we're talking about Jose meltdown moments. Jose goes to NA or Jose meltdown moments. Which will be the topic for this? I mean, definitely Jose meltdown moments has more clickability. But I want to talk about when you got to go get your driver's license again. That process.
Oh, and I had to go do the whole course again?
The school. The driving school.
I had to go back to driving school?
Yes.
So here in Nicaragua,
like last year, you had to go back to driving.
If you get 3 tickets in the year or 3 tickets in 6 months, something like that, you get your license suspended and you got to go back to school. So you're with all the truck drivers, the bus drivers. Usually you're there with taxi drivers, bus drivers, motorcycle drivers. You're with the worst of the worst, and then it's you. It's hilarious.
Have to wear something specific? Don't you have to wear specific items of clothing there that you did not have or something? Wasn't it?
Oh, you're supposed to wear pants.
Yes, you're supposed to wear pants. That's what I wanted to talk about.
I forgot about that. You reminded me. You have to wear pants. Yes. You have to go well dressed. You got to go like a formal student. You can't just show up in sandals. So this happens to a lot of my American friends who live here at the beach. And this is even worse because you got to go to Managua to take the course. So all my American expatriates who are surfers, they get their license suspended. They show up in Managua with no pants. Like, dude, that's enough. Don't be offensive, man. Like, don't offend the culture. Go put your pants on. In Nicaragua, in Managua, the capital, which is the lake side, nobody wears shorts.
What?
Nobody. Everybody wears pants. Everybody wears pants. You are never going to see my driver, my gardener, the people, the common people of Nicaragua wearing shorts. Ever. Pretty interesting.
That's insane. It is because we've got at our marketing company, we've got a team member who's in Nika, and he sent us weather there yesterday, and it's like super, super hot. So my question is, it was like 98 degrees yesterday, high of 98 degrees. So people were wearing, and it's not even July, and they wear pants all year, huh?
We wear pants, but this is the hottest. This is our hottest. This is our hottest. This is what
right
do you
now
call? This is the zone.
Summer?
This is like the ground zero for heat. This is yes, because we have two. We have two seasons. We have the rainy season and we have the dry season. So we are at the edge of the dry season. We're at the end of the dry season. So it hasn't rained in 6 months. So everything's dry. Everything's blistering hot. Everything is scorching.
Right.
In a month or so from now, the first rains are going to fall. And then it's just raining for 6 months. And the most beautiful time of the year is November and December, when the rainy season has just finished and everything is green and lush and fresh. It's like our spring. It's like our beautiful spring is. And that's when we're going to have a retreat, and you're coming down in November, and some of our listeners are welcome to come too.
You can't wait. That'll be freaking amazing.
Yeah,
we do, and I'm going to be physically well this time, which is going to be great. When I almost came down in December, that would have not been fun. Not fun.
Don't challenge VUCA.
Don't challenge. Yeah, you never know, right? You never know. Nothing's for sure. Nothing's for
sure like that.
So
yeah, VUCA, hold my beer.
So if you were to give somebody advice, because I don't really have advice because I haven't had that reconnection experience, but let's say somebody is on that path. They're either sober or sober curious. And maybe they've stepped foot into an NA or an AA meeting before and haven't in a hot minute. Could be days, weeks, years, like yourself. Could be decades. Anything that you could share with them that would help them prepare for that? Because I think that there's probably a lot of people, like I'm sitting here doing mental inventory of people I know in recovery that don't go to meetings. No judgment. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't, myself included. What would you give people like us who haven't been in a while in terms of tools or anything to expect when stepping back in those doors?
First is we forget what we don't know. So we forget, we think we know, but we forget some principles, and we disconnect to the reason. I mean, if sobriety and that was crucial to who you are today, and it was valuable to who you are today, then don't stray too far away from it. The other is, don't make it just about you. There's a lot of, go help others, man. There's a lot of people there that need your help. Yeah. If you're all good and dandy and doing great, go serve. It's a great place to go serve.
Yeah.
It's a great place to go be the filament in other people. You will find people that you can serve there, man. That's probably, you're going to go there, you're going to be like, man, I can do some stuff here. And make sure that my axe is sharpened and I'm at the top of my own recovery. That I'm not lying to myself.
That's beautiful.
So that's what I'm getting from it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll drop that in show notes. I mean, we don't even need to do it. If your alcohol is your drug of choice, AA.org. If narcotics, NA.org. There you go. Super easy. We don't care where you are in the world, unless it's maybe North Korea where you can't drink or do drugs. If there's drinking, if there's booze, if there's chemicals that alter your perception of reality, chances are there's a support resource very, very, very close to you multiple times a day. It's free. It's judgmental free. It's a resource. So I think we'll wrap, man, unless there's anything else you want to.
No, we're good, man.
There we go. That's the pod. We're good for this week.
Subscribe, share. If this was helpful, share it with people that you might think might find value in it. And keep on listening to us in our next episode. There you go.
There we go. Have a phenomenal week and be well.